Hi, this is Shadi, and today we have a short discussion. This is, in my opinion, the biggest misconception that there is pertaining martial arts. I know I talk about a lot of general narratives that are false, dispel myths, etc., try to provide a little bit of historical evidence, but this one, in my opinion, is arguably the biggest one, and that is that sumo wrestlers are just fat, strong, athletic martial artists, and that's not the case. As you look here from the old days, from the 19th century, you see them, they were ripped, they were muscular, they were strong, they were not necessarily big. I know we see, like, ever since we were little children, it is pushed by the media that they are just fat people. Even those little documentaries, you see them consuming 15,000 calories per day, preparing the big pots of shankonabe and eating them. But that was not always the case. I did a video back in a few months back about the history of sumo, and I talked about them. So sumo at first started being an art to entertain, and not just entertain, but also for ritualistic and religious purposes in the court of the emperor. And ever since the emperor lost its central power during the Kamakura period, particularly during the Middle Ages, sumo became more popular in the masses and ultimately became a samurai art. Now, are you gonna tell me that samurais, fighting invasions, being very athletic, etc., they were big and they cannot run long distances, and they had this big heavy weight on their structure to carry around? Absolutely not. So this is the thing. Here you see, for example, the early 1900s. This is a very big team of sumo wrestlers. You see them. There are some wrestlers with a little muffin top, a little belly, but all of them, as you see them, they are muscular, they are lean, and they are strong. And this was the case. Now, how did they get so big? In sumo wrestling, unlike any other martial arts like Sambo, BJJ, Judo, there is no weight category. And all other sports, as you see them, you start to see that with time the average weight tends to go up, whether it is because we have much more nutrition science, because the level just tends to go up and up. And like in some other sports, of course, there is PEDs like bodybuilding. So since there's no weight category, obviously the bigger the better, and you'd have the far better competitive edge, and thus the average weight of the sumo wrestlers started to increase year after year, decade after decade. I know people, there's also the other misconception that they are just fat, almost as unhealthy. If you go and see them do their splits, you would see that this is not the case. You would see that how they train their endurance, but also they want to be heavy. I know clinically they're considered morbidly obese even, but nonetheless they are pretty much athletic, kind of like your strong man who eats a lot and can lift a lot of weights. They're packing a lot of muscle underneath all that fat. So this is the biggest misconception, in my opinion, and that is, sumo wrestlers are just like these fat, strong people, which is not the case. Here, this footage alone shows that it is not so much so true. And in fact, I wish there could be far more, a little bit of weight categories. I don't know if it exists, but at least in Japan, on the professional level, there's no weight categories. I really wish there's this a little man sumo avenue or categories or events where lean, strong, small men and women go and compete. And it doesn't have to be always these big men, because if you want to go into sumo and really enjoy it, the first thing they have to tell you is that you have to chug down 10,000 calories a day, 15,000 calories a day. Go start eating your shankonabe, whatever. I don't feel that this should always be the case. Like I said, samurai warriors before judo took the main stage in the Edo period or the early 1600s. It was first sumo, the naked form of wrestling of Japan, that was used to be practiced for the samurais and not jujutsu. So this is a small little discussion that I wanted to have. If you have anything else to add, I know sumo is very much loved and popular, so if you have anything else to add, let me know down below. Also, don't forget to support me on Patreon. I have exclusive content for the patrons only. The link will be in the description below. This was Chadi, and thank you for listening.